Greetings from Nashville, Tennessee, guys. I've been wanting to come to Nashville and explore. I've been curious to explore, rather, Nashville for a long time because it's one of these American cities rooted in folklore, right? When I say Nashville, you probably have a similar image that comes up in your mind of, cowboy hats and the country music scene. And I was wondering how authentic that really is, if it really is like that in real life, or if that's just kind of the marketing hype that's been constructed. Because you go to some places, Los Angeles, for example. When I first went to LA, I was like, especially Hollywood, I was like, this is Hollywood. It wasn't at all how I envisioned it in my mind based on movies, TV shows, pop culture. So I wanted to know if Nashville is the real deal, if it really has that country music, live music, cowboy hat wearing, uh, vibe in person. I have to say, it is that way. I've been pleasantly surprised by Nashville. It's a very niche place. I don't know any other place in America that is quite like this. When you stroll into the downtown area, it's bar after bar after bar, and every single one of them has live music, live musicians, a live band, live guitarists, and people are into it. Like the fandom of country music is unparalleled, and you see it at these venues, and so many people dressed up, again in cowboy attire. I wonder how much of that is tourists playing dress up because they're in Nashville, it's an event, and how much is like these are people who live in the area or maybe the outskirts of Nashville. I don't know, but it was fascinating to me to be in this environment observing all of this. And by the way, the men here, so many sexy guys. So many sexy guys. Again, are they local? Are they visiting? I don't know. But like corn fed, well fed, rugged men, not boys, men. And the cowboy hats, and the flannel shirts, it doesn't hurt either. It's nice to walk into a bar and, most people are wearing pants to start off. You don't see the kind of trashy outfits that you might see, frankly, in a place like Miami where I live. I don't know. I was sort of charmed by the uniqueness of this place. Now, that being said, after a few drinks, I tried to make eye contact with some guys who were hanging with their bros, didn't work out, didn't get lucky. So that part was interesting, that you're around all these really hot guys. I'm like, some of them must be, gay or bi or whatever. And I'm just curious what the gay scene is like here, because when I Googled gay bars in Nashville, there's a cluster that came up in downtown. But when I explored that area, I didn't see any gay bars. I didn't see any gay friendly. Sometimes you have establishments that like a lot of gay people go there, but it's unofficially a gay bar. It's not really a gay bar. I didn't see that at all. In fact, I did not see one rainbow flag while in Nashville, which I was kind of shocked by. I know that it's the South. I know that it's Tennessee, which is a very conservative state otherwise, but I just thought Nashville, it's a tourism hub. It's a live music, entertainment, arts sort of vibe. It's also the capital, by the way, of Tennessee, which I didn't realize. For some reason, I thought it was Chattanooga. So all these things together, I just thought there would be like at least a little bit of a gay presence, but I don't know, maybe it's one of these don't ask, don't tell types of places. It was definitely bittersweet seeing so many guys I was very attracted to, but being in these straight environments as a solo gay person, meaning I came here by myself, it's always a little bit triggering because it brings me back to childhood of like, am I the only gay person here? In like a 10-mile radius, which is obviously, delusional, but it sort of brought me back to that mindset. I don't recommend coming to Nashville by yourself like I did. You can still have a good time, but it's so nightlife and live music oriented that it really is best to come here, I think, with a group of friends and let loose for a weekend, kind of like a Vegas or New Orleans. It doesn't make as much sense to go to these places by yourself. Now let's talk about the apps. So I, of course, checked out Grindr while here. And my first observation was, wow, there's a lot of trans women here, which is very random. Now, I don't know if this was just a coincidence that literally my area, my hotel vicinity, I was like surrounded by trans women. I'm like, this is so random. I was curious what that's about. If you have any context, if you're a Nashville local or, more familiar with the area, I've never seen that in any city ever. Typically, I find, though, that places that are more trans friendly, I guess, or that you see more trans people, are places where a place where either it's just a more liberal place in general, a more open-minded, progressive place, or it's a place where like that's commodified and that's kind of like a kink. And I, based on the fact that I didn't see any rainbow flags while here at all, or any gay bars or gay establishments, I'm tempted to think that maybe a lot of guys come here the same way that people go to Vegas or Miami, and it's like they want to have a Sin City night or weekend and indulge in things that society otherwise deems taboo. Beyond that, my only other observation to mention regarding the apps was that the guys in person were much more riveting than the guys on the apps. I don't know what that's about. I always find that interesting when there's sort of a disconnect. I've experienced that before in San Diego as well, where you walk around and you're like, oh my God, there's so many beautiful men. You know, San Diego, a beach city, beach town, people are really fit, they're outdoors all the time. So I wonder if it's a comparable thing where, not that Nashville is super outdoorsy or a beach town, but because it's like nightlife oriented, people tend to congregate more in person, like in real life. And maybe that eliminates the need for apps as much, or the dependency on apps. I'm not sure. But you guys, in person, I don't think I've ever seen that much eye candy in one city. I think one weekend is perfect for Nashville. I will say it was exciting to go downtown and explore that, but I could see that getting really old after a few days. Obviously, the locals, I'm sure, find other activities, you know, especially if you're into the country music scene. I'm sure there's other things to explore connected to that. But it very much is a place to let loose with your friends, I think, for a weekend. Let me know if you've been to Nashville or you're familiar with the area. Let me know in the comments, and catch you next time with my next travel video.